What happens when you take the characters from Eddsworld, the goofiness of the Mummy movies, and make it intentionally funny? You get Ruined. For years, I always thought this was an extremely underrated episode, but I had no idea why. So this video is mostly going to be about me rewatching this episode and giving you my new and current thoughts and opinions on it, which is pretty much the point of this entire series, but let's go ahead and take a look. Ed breaks Tom's bass guitar after using it to kill a spider and decides to bury it in the backyard. But as he digs through the ground, he finds an old Egyptian door that could possibly have treasure underneath. Matt and Tor decide to go down with Ed because they want the treasure, and Tom goes with them because... I don't know, honestly. We see him freak out over his bass getting messed up, but he seems to get over that pretty quickly. Then again, maybe he's just used to having it get wrecked all the time. So on their way down, the rope breaks and traps them in the ancient ruins. And not only that, but there's also a mummy on the loose. So now they have to find their way out while avoiding whatever dangers come their way. And need I bring up the mummy again? It sounds like a pretty simple setup, and in many respects, it is. And there's nothing really even very epic about it. There are no explosions, no zombie hordes, so what exactly makes Ruined such a great episode? Well, that's the thing. It doesn't need any of that. Here's what happens. You got Ed and the guys, they go on an adventure, and there's a bunch of jokes. It follows the basic structure that any classic Eddsworld episode follows, and it does it well. It's wholesome, it's charming, and most importantly, it's funny. And it doesn't just work as a regular episode, it's also the perfect anything that can go wrong, does go wrong kind of episode. I just love all the situations they get involved in. Matt and Tord are trapped in a room with spiked walls closing in on them, sand pouring down from the ceiling, and the only thing that can make it worse is to have a giant speaker play Sunshine, Lollipops, and Rainbows. Ed pushes Tom into a corridor filled with booby traps and just plays with his yo-yo as Tom gets shot, cut, bruised, and God knows what else. The comedy in this episode ranges from character-based to visual-based to just plain silly. It does whatever it wants to get a laugh out of people, and it works. It has that classic gag where characters are depicted in the dark by just their eyeballs, but it's made even funnier with the inclusion of a character that doesn't have eyeballs. It's such an obvious joke to make with Tom, but it still gets me every single time. I know I'm focusing a lot on the comedy and not so much on the actual story, or anything else for that matter, but Ruined really is a funny episode. It never gets old to me, no matter how many times I watch it. This could have easily just been a throwaway episode with not that much time and effort put into it, but Ed just made it so entertaining. I think he really cared about giving people a good laugh, and even if the jokes don't always make you bust a gut, you'd have to be as solid as a rock to not chuckle at least once or twice. I'm not gonna act like Ruin is the best episode, because it's not. I've praised it for being so funny, but there are a lot more episodes to come that are way funnier. Even so, Ruined is still in my top 5 favorites. It does more with the idea than what could be possible for the time. It doesn't overstay its welcome or understay its welcome. The jokes are still so funny after all these years, and it's a textbook example of what makes a good Eddsworld episode. Ruined is a hidden treasure that more than deserves to be uncovered.